Do I look fat?
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Do I Look Fat podcast. It's your girl, Stephy Kiss. This week's guest is a Bronx native, a fellow Cancerian, and artist provocateur, Tokyopro. Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I'm happy to be here. How are you?
I'm well. So me and Tokyo met via the interwebs. I don't even know. I can't even pinpoint. Like, we've just been following each other for a minute or whatever. So, but he is a fellow Bronx native, and an artist. Tell us a little bit about what you do.
Well, I like to call myself a Renaissance punk where, I kind of do whatever. Like I came up doing like freelance graphic design, photography, videography. So like all the creative arts I'm pretty much versed in. But I'm just very heavy on like do it yourself energy. That's pretty much where it came from. Like I'm a rapper and I like to keep things real, like self-contained. Like if I don't have like a crew of like trusted individuals around me, I'll just go ahead and I'll do it myself. So there's really not a lot of things I don't do as far as like creatively. But at the core, I'm a poet, I'm a rapper, a performer. Actually, that is in fact where we met. Just it was more of like an in passing thing. It was like I performed at a place where your sister was painting.
Yes, that is true.
That just kind of happened. Yeah, and just like you said, it just kind of snowballed organically from there.
Yeah, because it was really in passing. Like, you performed. I was really like entertained by your performance. I was like, wow, like I wanted to know a little bit more. And then I ended up following you on Instagram, and it just went from there. But you just never know like when and where you can meet people in passing and then find them online, which is crazy.
A ton of my like online friendships have been actually people I've met in person, just in a very, very light way. Like people who, I've been drunk with this person and we talked for like 2 hours at the bar, and then I left and they found me, or I found them, and then we just kept the friendship going on Instagram. And a lot of times is where it stays. A lot of times, I mean, if it weren't for the pandemic, I think we probably run into each other at events and things like that.
Yeah.
But like, because of the pandemic, we just been mostly
Right.
internet
That's
folk.
real pre-pandemic talk, and it's kind of weird because it's like, will it ever come to that point again where you're just meeting all of these people in passing, especially in New York? Like, that has dropped so drastically.
It's actually kind of weird, right? Because the governor is aggressively pushing reopening. Like he started, like he was kind of like dabbling in it with like indoor dining, and now he's just like, nah, by February 23rd we're opening indoor dining again. We're gonna reopen arenas.
Right. We lost too much money at this point. Like, that's basically what it's saying to me.
Yeah, and I'm just like, if you think the states lost money, imagine the restaurant owners that had to go to the trouble of building these heated booths and try to pivot as hard as they can to accommodate the pandemic. And now they just pretty much wasted that money.
Yeah.
And they got to get back to full capacity now. We done did a thing with this thing.
It's all a mess, and it's freaking ridiculous, honestly. I wouldn't know how to fix it, like, so I'm not gonna sit here and act like I know, but it's just like there has to be a better way. Like, people have to really sit down and think about this shit, because I don't what they're doing just doesn't make sense to me, but whatever.
It really is that in a nutshell. Like, there has to be a better way. Like, I know there is. I know I might not know it off the top of my head, but I think that, shoot, if 10 politicians sat in a room together and talked about one thing and stayed focused, I think that we could actually get right back on track.
Yeah.
I think we could have been back on track a lot earlier. I mean, it's just been a lot. I mean, we've had a lot going on. Like, I always tend to remind myself that it's not just the
Yeah.
pandemic that's getting to us. It's a lot of things. It's like our political climate, the social climate. Shoot, the internet has been kicking our asses
Right.
for years. And we're just kind of getting to critical mass with like the consequences of overusing the internet and relying on
Mm-hmm.
technology. We're just coming to a head with all these things. So it's almost like too much to worry about,
Yeah, for
almost.
sure. For sure. And it's like the pandemic was almost like the straw that broke the camel's back. So all of this stuff has been happening for years and years and years. And then the pandemic happens and it's like, okay, now everybody's just fucked. Like we're trying to warn you for a minute to like chill in these certain areas, and now y'all gonna have to learn.
Literally, you gonna learn today. Literally.
Right. All right, so we're going to get into the icebreaker, okay? So, what I like to do is I like to ask a couple of would you rather questions. I'm going to give you two scenarios. You let me know which one you would rather
All right.
and why, okay? So, the first one is would you rather have no taste or be colorblind?
Mm. Mm. Just came right in with the toughest one. You wouldn't think it was, but like, all right. So I think that I would rather be colorblind. Like if I had to choose, it'd probably be
Mhm.
colorblind. I love food. I'm like a I I
Yeah.
am really, and I didn't realize until the pandemic actually how in love with food I am because I just
Mm.
wanted to cook everything.
When you were making all of your
Yeah.
own food?
So like if I couldn't taste anything, like honestly, if I got COVID and lost my taste, I would be more miserable off that alone than anything else.
Mm. Yeah, not being able to taste any of your food has to suck. Like I would never want to eat. Like
Give
for
me
what?
like a carnation instant breakfast or something. It's all the same.
Right. I mean, so like a world without color sucks. Like that would be trash, but there's so many other forms of art that aren't visual.
I
So,
that's what really did it for me because as I said colorblind, I
mhm.
had a bit of like a cringe in my heart because I love like art, like museums are my thing. So
Mhm.
like if I had to walk through a room full of, I don't know, pick the loudest artist. If we walked through a room full of Andy Warhols and everything was gray,
Right. Yeah.
and I knew that they weren't gray before I went colorblind, it would probably break my heart.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. All right, so we're going to get into the next one. So,
Mhm.
would you rather forget your favorite books so you can reread them again for the first time, or forget your favorite movies so you can rewatch them for the first time?
Absolutely forget my favorite books.
Yeah.
Every book that I've ever read, I always close that thing like, yo, we might have to go back in. A movie you can really pick up and put down in passing.
Mhm.
Like I've watched, say, all right, like I've watched Goodfellas. It's one of those movies I've watched 4 million times.
Mhm.
But every time I watch it, there's something new that I learn in it. And I could be watching it in passing. Like I could be doing the dishes
Right.
and Goodfellas is on in the background and I didn't know he said that.
Mhm.
So like you can always access a movie. It's very, it's very easy.
Yeah.
That's why people like movies better than books. But like to close a book and forget a book is it's almost like, nah, I have to get back to that. And you'll be double satisfied the next time.
Because it's like also that wow moment is always more intense with a book than it is in a movie. I don't know what it is, but it could be like your wildest imagination. So it's different for everybody. So it's like that experience is very personal as opposed to when you're watching a movie, that's the same experience everybody else is having. You know what I'm saying? So
Exactly.
yeah, to reread these some of these books, I could only like without remembering all of those wow moments. I like to reread books now, knowing what's gonna
Knowing what's gonna
happen.
happen. I mean, shoot, Harry Potter was one of those series that like I went back and read it again as an adult
Hmm.
and was like, wow, so much background information I
Yes.
missed as a kid.
Listen.
And I still like the books the same.
Hmm.
Like I still loved it the same. It just was like, oh, but now I know that there's more than one magic school.
Hmm.
And like now I know that like stuff that like I would have just I would have just went about my life thinking Hogwarts was that one wizarding school in the whole world,
Right.
and not knowing that like that tournament was different schools.
Yeah, no. Harry Potter, listen, I feel like Harry Potter, it's very underrated. Like, people don't be fucking with it like that. At least not people my age. Maybe that's what it is. Because I read it older, right? So I read it when the movies came out. Because I love to read. If I like a movie series and it's based on a book, I know the book is going to be 100 times better than the movie. So I'm going to want to read the book. So I read Harry Potter after I watched the movies, and that fucking series is fire. Like, it's so good.
I think a lot of why people tend to not fuck with Harry Potter is, and this might have a little gravity to it, right? But like, a lot of us have not really gotten in touch with the inner child, right? Like, imagination is something that trips a lot of us up. Like, we kind of just want it there. Like, I mean, we'll read a book that's like based in real life situations and we'll love it. Like, I don't know, like, you know how people used to go crazy for like the Zane novels?
Yeah.
To me, that's too much real life. It's boring. It's like, yeah, I get the descriptive, like, oh, yeah, real steamy. You know what I mean? But,
Right.
like, it's real life. We're going to go out and experience a Zane novel on Saturday night. You know what I mean? But, like, Harry Potter, we're never going to experience Harry Potter.
It literally takes you somewhere new.
Yeah, we just got to be like, yo, if I was a wizard, like, my wand would be, like, unicorn feather, phoenix feather, like... And I'm shit. Definitely a Slytherin. Like, I don't want to hear it. Like,
oh boy, yeah. No, dead ass. I mean, I get why some people also don't like it, because it's like they're all white for the most part. Like, you have your token people of color sprinkled in. There's no representation for like the LGBTQ plus community and all of that shit. Like, I get all of that. But also, it's like, it's fiction. Like, it's not real in a way. So, like,
they could be whoever you want.
Right.
Like, except for Cho Chang. You knew that Cho Chang was an Asian girl. Right. And I thought that was a little weird. It was like, I was like, all right, so we just got used to the fact that it's all British white kids. And then we got Cho Chang, and that's all we got.
Right.
And... they framed Cho Chang in a way where, like, they were being pseudo-racist towards her. So I'm just like, wait a minute.
She did become, like, an outcast and shit.
And they tried to make it seem like, oh, no, she's a muggle. She's, like, muggle-born. Nah, you know exactly why you coming for Cho Chang. Like, and then to like, retroactively make Hermione Granger black. I'm like, well, you know, I already kind of felt like Hermione was black. And that's the great thing about imagination. They never, you know, J.K. Rowling never said what ethnicity or persuasion any of those characters were. So, like, you may feel like Harry was white because if you take her description of the Dursleys, then it's like, oh, they're definitely white, the way that you describe them. But, like, they never really talk about Hermione, her parents. They just say who they were, a muggle and a wizard. And, like, you know, Fred and George, of course, they're, like, Irish. So, like, you know, they have those, like those cultural references. But everyone else could be whoever. Like,
no,
Voldemort, you know, they never told us who Voldemort was and, like, what country he was from. Like,
yeah,
you kind of can make that up for yourself. So, like, that's the beauty of stuff like that.
Definitely. I think people just, like, they want things to be, like, said because I think one of the characters, like, it was made sure that we knew he was black. Dean Thomas, like, she literally said, like, this African-American boy or whatever. And it's just like...
I mean, come on, man. We doing too much now. Like... let us leave something to the imagination, man.
Right. Like, just don't say anything. Like, let people come up with what they come up with. Let the character be the character. Unless, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a writer, so I have no idea how all of that works for real. But whatever. I don't try to take any of that, like, real to heart or whatever. I know
Because then it ruins the
it
imagination of it all.
does. And like the experience. Like I like the fact that I like reread Harry Potter and it brought me back, like you said, like to that like my inner child. Like I was reading that book before bed. It was fire. Like I don't care what anybody says.
I still want to play Quidditch. Like, I don't care that I'll never ever have a Nimbus 2000. I still want to play Quidditch. Like,
All right, let's get into the next question because I feel like I could talk about Harry Potter all
oh
day.
yeah, nah, we were about to really spiral on that.
All right. Would you rather be 4 years old your entire life or be 90 years old your entire life?
4. I was lit. Like, like baby me was like all over the place. Like imagination, creativity. I was just bugging out. I just asked the right questions. I don't know what I'm gonna be at 90. I might be fed up with it all at 90. And so
You don't want to fuck with nobody. I'm just gonna be a cancer in my shell. I'm tired of every last one of y'all.
Yeah, just make sure, like, I'm just gonna keep my cookware clean and I'm just gonna stay here forever. Don't bother me. But come through if you want something to eat. Like, come through. But like, leave me alone.
Can't stay for long. Listen, I'll let you know when I'm tired of you for sure.
Go in the room and close the door. I won't even say anything.
Make sure you lock up. Like just
put the slam lock on, please.
That's such a New York shit. Like, do other places do that? Like the slam lock? I don't feel like.
You know what? It's a good question because everywhere outside of the city, like period, like even like in upstate New York, people do not lock their doors. And I'm almost like, well, what's the sense in having a door then?
Right.
It's just like a social. If I know you, then I know you don't lock your door just like I don't lock my door. I'm just going to open the door and hidey ho you every day. Like, but I think that it really is like, I think it really is like an inner city thing. Like we definitely have the slam lock. We definitely are them folks that keep the chain. I've only really seen the chain in New York City.
Do you remember the police locks?
Oh yeah, the bar that holds the door. I kind of wanted, I kind of want one still.
Do they still make those? I feel like no apartments have them shits no more. They stopped making them.
Yeah, because you gotta refit your floor and like because they have to put like the groove in the floor to hold the stick.
Yeah,
and then. But boy,
nobody was getting in your house with that shit on.
Nobody. Like my grandmother, and it's crazy because when you thought about when you actually brought up the slam lock, I was like, my grandmother used to have the police lock on it. And I've only really seen those here too. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, that might just be a New York thing. So for anybody who doesn't know, if it is just a New York thing, it's basically like they would have a very heavy metal bar against the door and like in a groove in the floor. So like you couldn't, it was like, it's not a barricade, but it's like a.
Like what is the mathematical term? I know it's one of those like.
It's like, when you put a chair in front of the door that it just stops
like
it because it won't move. Yeah. So it's like that, but with a really heavy duty metal bar.
And that bar is like 20 pounds.
At least.
Yeah.
And you can't even open your door all that wide. For you to open your door wide, you have to like take out the bar completely. You remember that shit?
It's not a joke. Like, someone tries to like break. I've seen people try to like ram their way into doors.
Not with that. It's not going to happen.
Nah. And you know what? That actually raises a good point. I think that the reason why they're no longer like common is because if you think about it, if like first responders have to get in your house, like EMTs or fire, like you're really screwed.
Yeah,
like,
they're not going to get in your crib at all.
Nah, they're just going to stand out there and just be sad because they already know what's about to happen to you. Like,
no, seriously. Yeah, that's probably why, because no one was breaking into that. But I also feel like I've only seen them in like really bad areas, or if your family just, because I'm pretty sure I had one in my apartment because my dad was just overly like protective. Like we had the police lock, we had security systems, we had, and this is like the 90s. Like, sir, what
Yo,
are you
ADT,
selling drugs in the back? Like, what the fuck is going on back here?
ADT in an apartment is crazy. Yo, I've never seen like a security system in the apartment. Like, yo,
Yeah.
walking in and 4893, we armed now. Like, wow, wow.
So imagine, like, I'm just like, I don't even understand what's going on. And we still got broken into. So explain.
Cause in the city nobody cares, man. That's why that police bar was the best. Cause it was just like, yo, you know, we're in a city where we can't have firearms for protection,
right,
and things like that. Our only protection is a good defense. So,
and it's crazy, like, so the fact that you say that we can't have firearms, to me, having a gun is so wild. Like, I didn't know anybody like with guns growing up. Like, it was really just like in my head, police officers and like criminals have guns. Like that's how it is in New York. And then I meet all these people from like all over, especially Florida, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I got a gun in my bag." I'm like, "I'm sorry, what? Like, why do you have a gun on you?"
It's my favorite thing about Southerners and Midwesterners is they have that glizzy on them. Like, every time.
For no reason. I'm just like,
nah,
we're going to Target. Like, why do you have a gun?
Listen, man, we might hit a deer and might have to put it out its misery. You know, because that was one of the questions I had. Like, I would be like, you know, why is it that you are riding around with like a 45 in your glove compartment? I mean, like, who's trying to kill you? And if they are, can you please let me out right here so I can walk?
I don't want to be a part of that. Like,
yeah, my social credit's good. Ain't nobody coming to look for me. Was I supposed to come
strapped? Like, because I didn't get the memo.
I didn't get the memo. And he's like, nah, but you know, like, we got deer crossings, we got things like that. So, like, you know, you never know when you gotta. And I'm like, yeah, you know, I'll buy your deer crossing story today. But like, you guys are all crazy. I mean, even though like I love guns, for a New Yorker, I don't understand like my affinity to them. I think just as machines, like how people like cars and things like that,
like the mechanics of it all, and
yeah, like it's something about it. It's never about like me holding a gun. Like when people say like there's a feeling of power, I get that, but like I don't feel more or less powerful holding a gun.
Okay.
I just think it feels cool moving the parts around and knowing like how to shoot and how fast you can shoot this gun versus that gun, and like what a rifle feels like compared to a shotgun. It would seem violent, but like, I don't care. I'll be like one of those rich people where like they say Paul and like they send like the clay pot up in the air. Yeah. Skeet shooting. Skeet shooting's what you call it. Like, what? I'll shoot clay pots all day in my backyard.
Right. Okay. I mean, guns. I've never held a gun in real life. I've never seen a gun in real. I mean, aside from like when you see them on cops or whatever, but I've never actually seen one in real life. Funny story. I actually thought my ex-boyfriend had a gun in the house. Turned out it was a BB gun. It looked fucking real to me. I was scared as fuck.
Oh no, those are hilarious because they look super real. You pull that thing out on me, I'm not gonna even question it.
Yo, so I'm like putting away laundry and shit, and in his like sock drawer is a box, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? I open it, and it's a gun. Like, it was a plain like black box. The gun was sitting like in like foam and shit. I'm like, the fuck is this? I know you didn't bring a fucking gun in my house. I was flipping out. He was like, if you would have picked it up, you would have saw that it was a BB gun. You know what? I don't have time. Thought I was touching that shit. I don't know who you shot.
Yeah, I'm not picking that thing up so my fingerprints could be on it. I watch Law and Order. Like,
exactly.
I think that's what keeps New Yorkers really from like wanting to own guns. I think we watch Law and Order and it's like, I don't want nothing leading back to me.
Anytime you sit there like, oh, we found a fingerprint on the gun. What if I just randomly touched the gun in the street? Now they're coming after me for a shooting, and I didn't kill nobody. I was home asleep in my bed. Like, see,
the serial number led back to a stolen gun that is in your house, ma'am. How do you explain that?
See, I don't have time. I don't
I
have
don't
time.
have time.
All right, so we're gonna get into our first segment, and it's Eat Your Heart Out, and it's basically where we talk about things where we can help our listeners with like tips and gems and just things to help either just health wise, whether it has to do with your body, mentally, physically, all of that. So today I wanted to talk about why a change of scenery is good for your mental health. So if you know me, I am an advocate for travel. I fucking love to go away. It's literally my therapy. It makes me feel so good, especially living in New York City where it's like 6 months out of the year, 7 months out of the year, it's literally gray and brown outside, and I can't take it. It's way too much, and this is gonna be a long winter. I'm telling you that right now. But I found an article, and it says that basically a change of scenery can boost your well-being and mood. You want to be able to go places where there's a lot of greenery and colors, where you can get a lot of vitamin D, just where you can intake the nature. It doesn't necessarily have to be warm, but just something different from what you're used to, different from the mundane. And I wanted to talk about this with you because I remember you mentioning randomly that you literally just picked up and left, like to go to the other side of the world. And I wanted to know, like, what brought that on for you?
Oh man. So uh that is absolutely true. I had a severe, like, I used to minimize it and just call it like a series of panic episodes, but it really was like a full-on emotional breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
Um I was working a job that I did not like. And although in reality my life was just picking up and like really like sky's the limit, I couldn't see it that way. Um it just kind of felt like I was headed for a dead end.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always loved Japan. Like I've been going there, at least once a year since 2009.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, I love it. I love it. And it was literally the only thing that clicked. Like through all of like the negative thoughts and the weird self-talk that was going on, as a result of everything that was going on in my life, I was just like, you know what? Fuck this. The job, the everything. Let me just I'm gonna book this ticket. I booked it on my work computer. And
Mm-hmm.
I didn't tell anyone. I didn't, I just one day left from work, told everybody good night, like see you tomorrow. Like it was so funny. Like
How
see
long
you
were you gone
tomorrow.
for?
Like 3 weeks.
Okay.
I left for as long as like I could afford. I just took everything. I took out my 401k. I took out everything and just was like skedaddle. And it was where I actually realized that sometimes it is as simple as a change of scenery, where like you don't have to experience the same things, because especially if that mundane, like everyday cycle in your life is negative.
Mm-hmm.
Like if
Yeah.
it's bad, you have like a hostile work environment, you got a hostile home environment, you're in a bad relationship. It's like if that's your everyday in New York City, then just
Mm-mm.
like going to Central Park isn't necessarily gonna help.
Right.
Because I love
That's
Central
true.
Park. I go there all the time. I'll walk through a museum, and sometimes like it's very calming. It is sort of like my therapy in a way. But like when it really gets rough, you just gotta like forget about what the social stigma is. Some people think that like it's too impulsive to just get up and go.
Mm.
And I mean, like, as long as like your core responsibilities aren't gonna suffer as a result, like, of
Right.
course, be responsible, be smart, but like, get the hell out of there. Like, you're going to, and it might not feel better in the beginning because the adjustment,
Mm-hmm.
when I landed in Tokyo, I was still in a horrible mental space. And the stress of realizing, like, yo, I literally just in a brain fog. I booked a flight to Japan and I
Mm-hmm.
booked an Airbnb and I'm here now.
Right.
It gave me
Without a plan.
migraines. Yeah, it gave me terrible migraines. And I was just like in a bad mood for the first 24 hours. But once I was able to wake up in the morning and like I didn't have to scramble to run to work with the constant thought in my mind of like, I hate it. I hate it. I'm
Right.
trying to be grateful, but I hate it. And it's
Mm-hmm.
eating me. I'm waking up and I'm hearing like the kids playing. It smells like, usually, like Tokyo in the morning is an odd thing because there's a smell in the air, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's clean. It's like New York, but it's clean.
Uh-huh.
Like how like our polluted air is something that like we don't realize until we go somewhere and come back.
Right. Okay.
So like me just honestly seeing all of the skyscrapers and knowing that like, I'm in my head I'm like, oh, they polluting like crazy. There's like 10 million
Mm-hmm.
people living in this little space. Like this gotta be polluted.
But they're not.
Nah. It smells like Puerto Rico. But it's like but it's Asia. Like it's
Okay.
an island and you forget that it's an island, but like you wake up and the island breeze is hitting you in your face. And
Yeah.
like
But it looks like you're standing in the middle of Times Square.
exactly. And like nobody knew me. Nobody knew me, but everyone was polite. Right? So like the culture's great like that. Like everyone's kind of polite and respectful to strangers and all of that. So I was able to go out and I built like a little, like what I call now, like a personal routine. So like I'll get
Mm-hmm.
up in the morning, I'll have a cup of tea. I'm, I'm staying away from all of my, anything anyone can contact me on because of course, like a
Mm.
week into my little escape, I had like 50,000 emails from human resources. Like, where did you go? Uh,
Right. Are you
are you
coming
coming
back?
back?
Like, what's going
Did you need
on?
a leave of absence? And I'm just like, this job was such hell that I forgot that I could take a leave of absence. Like I thought there was no escape.
Mm. Right.
But it really is true. Like sometimes the best thing to do is to literally change your surroundings, even if it's for a weekend. Like a big thing, a big thing that I would say as well is like not only because like you don't really have to like go to the extreme like I did. Like
Right.
you could just go upstate and like go in the
Mm-hmm.
woods and just chill. But like leave your phone in a place where like only like people in an emergency should have access to you in these moments. Like
Right. Because if you're still like online and doing the same shit you were doing in your crib, it's not really changing anything. You're still gonna have the same kind of like mindsets because of all the shit you're consuming anyway. So
exactly.
definitely leave your phone alone. I went on a retreat in September and it's funny because like the retreat I went on, I found these people through the internet, right? Through like social media or whatever. And literally I did not know where my phone was the whole weekend. And I had such a blast. And in a way, it's like, damn, I have no pictures. But I was just having so much fucking fun that I have no idea where my phone was at. Randomly, there's pictures of other people in my phone. Because when I tell you, my phone was just literally all over the house. Like, but that was like the funnest I've ever had in a very, very long time. And it was without my phone. It was a change of scenery. It was down in Florida. We had the pool. It was sunny. Like, it was just great. It was amazing. And the most fun I had all 2020.
It's yeah,
So,
we don't actually take into account that our lives, like I forgot who said this, but somebody said like we live in public.
mm,
Just like regarding social media. And a lot of times we don't realize that that's an added stressor. Like on top of the
mm-hmm.
daily stress of life. Like our parents had the daily grind, but like they could turn their whole entire brain off and do something mindless like watch Seinfeld. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
they could crochet a blanket, like they could go and make a
Mm-hmm.
pottery thing. But like our escape from everyday life tends to be more often than not virtual reality, i.e. like Instagram. And this is why you see so many people like vent in their stories and their pages become less of like a curated social media experience and more of like, this is how I'm feeling today and tomorrow and the next day. And it's like, it's very easy to share when you're sad on social media, but what you don't realize is we are all kind of like the same. Like we're all feeling the same things, whether we acknowledge them or not. And so when regular life gets tough, social media is super empty, but it's designed for us to want to be engaged with it all the time. It feels like our recreation. So that was a huge thing too. It was like, you know, I got a job I hate. I just got out of a really bad, confusing relationship. I was all sorts of tore up. But what made it worse was the fact that I had to go on Instagram and not only see people happy, but like then see people who I knew were fronting like they were happy. It's just so much of other people's energy that like, where is the space for you to be with you? Right. And that was what being in Japan did for me. It was like, it's just me and like this tea. and I would just walk through the street. Like, it's a very walkable city. It's not as big as New York. It's actually pretty small compared to New York. It's just densely populated. You can walk the city in a day. And I would just walk the thing in circles every day. Like the 3 weeks consisted of me just finding whatever jumped out and spoke to me. And I had no phone. I had my camera. Luckily for me, it was like no one could reach me in Japan. Like I had Wi-Fi. So like if you knew to FaceTime me, but like if you're just like an average, you know, if you're another like a stranger, all of the ways that you would be contacting me,
you don't have access
not
to.
At all. It'd be like I disappeared off the face of the earth. So all of my pictures from that time, they're all like camera photos. Like they're all from the Nikon. And it was then that I realized, like, you know, it's a mixture of real life and this virtual reality life that we don't realize we're living. We kind of almost look at it as it's just like a game on our phone. Like, you know, Twitter's a game. Like it's the talk shit game. You know what I mean? Like, but it's not the talk shit game. It is literally an application like that was once made for journalists. And we're just talking our
we
shit
just took
now.
over.
Yeah. $200 dates. That we're now we on that. But yeah, like you know, sometimes you do. You just gotta go to Puerto Rico and not for the gram. Like you just gotta go for the beach. How you gonna enjoy the beach through the screen? It's almost like you wasn't even there. Yeah.
You're not. And then for me, I also feel like when you take your electronics to like the beach, I never am like taking a bunch of pictures in the beach or whatever. There's sand and everything. Like I just want all my shit to be like clean in my bag because I hate sand to be in the crevices of all my shit. Especially if I have like an expensive camera and stuff like that. I like to experience what I'm doing instead of chronicling it. You know, because then it becomes more like a job than anything else. Because what are we doing it for?
What is the point? I thought that the salt water and the sun is good for you, but it ends up being good for our feed. And we forgot we went to the beach.
And you know who taught me that was actually my son, because he has autism. I say this all the time on the podcast, but he doesn't play with toys a lot. Like, what he likes is like technology, like iPad, iPhone, a tablet, things to do on there and all that shit. So when it comes to like Christmas and things like that, I'm not getting you a new iPad every year. Like that doesn't even, I would have 1,000 iPads at this point. So I would always gift him with like a trip or like an experience, like a show or something like that, that we can do. And because he's so like connected to like the phones and stuff, we would have to do these things without any tablets, without any phones, because once he sees my phone, he's going to want to use it and he's not going to be present in what's going on. So I really had to like experience these things without internet, without being online, without having, pictures taken or doing Instagram stories or whatever have you, because he couldn't be distracted in that way. So to live your life like that it's pretty cool. Like, you think you're like, oh my God, but I don't have memories, but those are like things you don't forget.
Exactly. You do have memories. Since when does our memory stop at a photograph? Like, there are times where I've lived certain things where I wish I had photos. Like,
Right.
Sometimes somebody said this not too long ago, and it really, really, I had to hit my best friend like, yo, bro, I love you, bro. I never say that. We don't say it enough. And like, we've been friends for like 27 years, and like, I love you, man. And the reason being is because he is my best friend. He used to live across the street from me, and we would always chill with each other. We would do everything. But we have no pictures. We have 2 pictures, like of the 2 of us.
Right.
And people would almost be like, you couldn't tell that was your friend. You guys don't have no pictures together. And I'm just like, yo, we just be too busy living, yo. We got inside jokes. We got all kinds of, like, we never forgot what it was like to be at Kanye West Glow in the Dark tour, Madison Square Garden. We never forgot.
Throwback.
Yeah, we never forgot what it was like to be in the nosebleed seats at a Kanye West concert and still feel like we were there. Like, we were there. And another thing, when we're talking about our phones and like this like need to document everything, we have ruined our concert experience by wanting everyone to see. We almost want to give people FOMO more than we want to enjoy the artist.
Right.
Like, here's Kanye West flying around. Like, what was this? 2007 or 8? Like, this was when he did
the Glow in the Dark tour.
Yeah, was that?
Yeah, it was like 2008. Yeah, 7.
Yeah, because the graduation album. So like, here he is flying around in the air with a sparkly suit on. And we had no Instagram stories, and like, Instagram was really trash back then, and Twitter was not really allowing you to do much except for like TwitPic. So you had to take a picture with your phone. And like, I have no pictures from Kanye West Glow in the Dark. I don't even have merch. But like, I know that was one of my
that was before buying merch was like a huge thing.
The resale game has destroyed like just having a t-shirt. Like, like, I buy merch and I'm like, yo, I'm gonna give this to my son. I'm gonna be like, yo, your dad was like the coolest dude.
Right.
And he went to see Tame Impala at Madison Square Garden. And now I kept this shirt just for you. Just for you. Wear that well, kid. And ask that girl to dance, man. She gonna like your little old school flavor.
Not the vintage.
Not the vintage. Like, yo, chill. Like, the hype beasts are gonna be like, yo, that's like $700 on StockX. And the girls are gonna be like, who's Tame Impala? And like,
and then they're gonna Google it. Like, oh,
I'll make you a mixtape. I'll make you a playlist.
That is so fucking funny. Oh my goodness. Like you said, the FOMO with the concerts. Everyone just records the concerts now and puts it all over their story. Like, you don't even like, what are we missing? It's like the whole appeal of going to a concert was seeing something that wasn't available to the public in that moment.
And the people who miss it, they're not necessarily upset that they missed it. They are upset, but it's not like a I need to see this upset. Right. It's almost like, damn, I can't believe I missed that. I bet you it's a movie, man. Like, I bet you that, like, Kanye killed it. And, like, I bet you everybody's having a good time. And I'm kind of sad I slept on it. But, like, c'est la vie. You know what I mean? But, like, now it's almost like, why even buy tickets to a concert when your homeboy could go and be on Instagram Live?
You're watching the whole shit.
And it sucks because then people have this weird, like dilettante opinion. So, like, it's almost like your opinion becomes like very blasé about certain things because you weren't there. Like, you didn't feel like, as a performer, a concert is a transfer of energy. Like, you leave a concert feeling good. Like, you've transcended something. You feel like that
Yeah.
person on the stage, like if they're a good performer, you felt like you got to know this person and now you love them, right? But watching that concert on Instagram Live is just you watching someone else watching it through their phone. So
Right.
it's very devoid of emotion. It's like you don't get that transfer of energy. So you're just like, oh yeah, I saw Kanye and like it's Kanye. Like, all right. And it's
Right.
like
He was doing that song.
and it's like, nah,
Yeah.
man, he was crying and the stage was moving and it was a moving experience. Like, what? Nah, I loved it.
And just the atmosphere of the audience, like everyone there for him, egging it on and being hype and, rapping all at the same time. Like all of that
Making
shit.
friends,
Like,
sharing a blunt, passing around the bottle you snuck in. Like, you bond. You bond. Like, I've hugged strangers at concerts. I've sang songs with like a couple, right? The girl in one arm, the guy in another arm, and me in the middle, and we're like, "Yo, welcome to the good life." Like, listen, like, there's no, and that is like, it kind of it goes back to what we do when we travel. Like, we do waste the opportunity to get that change of scenery, to change our perspective and to re-regulate our emotions, because I believe, and I hate to sound like a grandpa because like I'm a millennial, but like, we grew up in tech too, but it's just like, as we get older now, we're able to see like the impact that technology has had on our emotional well-being, because even the things
right.
that would change us, they tend not to change us because we let our phone get in the way. Like,
Right.
it's literally a barrier. It's in the way. We're focused on this
Mm-hmm.
and not that. So sometimes, people would say like, I got to take this trip for my sanity, and then they'll document the trip all the way, and it's almost like, were you sad because you thought that you were too broke to travel, or were you actually sad
Mm.
and needed a new perspective?
Right. Because those are two different
You're gonna
things.
come back sad still.
Because you're still going to be broke.
Them likes are gonna slow up. Your story is going to disappear after 24 hours, and then you're back at square one. And what are you gonna do to get the likes next? Now you're just chasing the dragon.
Right.
When really you could have just shut your phone off, sat on the beach, and been like, yo,
Mm.
I really am a human being having a human experience. And all of this outside shit, this job, this like toxic relationship, these toxic friendships, I'm able to reorganize them in my life. Sometimes,
Right.
the people that do it right, they come home and they leave that asshole. Or like they switch up their friend group. They stop answering their phone for them folks. Or or
Mm-hmm.
they'll go looking for a new job with like a new sense of purpose. Like,
They gained like clarity.
absolutely. You hit the nail right on the head. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
I came back from Tokyo and I didn't have a job anymore. Like, I had a certified letter from FedEx that was just like, nah, bro, you're fired. Like, we know what you did.
Right.
Somebody saw your Instagram and we know your ass went to Asia. And like, you got me. You feel me? But
Right.
like, I came back and I knew like, yo, I'm a whole person. And these things, although we need money to survive, what I learned is like, you can get that if
Mm-hmm.
your mentality and your emotions are lined up the right way. If you don't if you don't have the right, if you don't have the right perspective,
Mm-hmm.
then you're not going to have it when you get back. You're going to be deeper in the hole. So like, I think the whole point of changing your surroundings to, cure a depression and things like that. Cause I remember you actually mentioning that like you have seasonal.
Seasonal depression.
Oh,
Yeah.
yo, the thing is that, sometimes people get on folks for like getting, going to LA or like going to,
Mm-hmm.
Mexico or something like that. Like, I'm a Tulum hater. I don't
Right.
like everybody going to Tulum. I hate that. But like, if the cold's got you all one way and like that shit's getting hard to get out from under, Man, take that ass to Tulum. You know what I mean? Like, fuck it, 4 days, 5 days. Like, go sit down. And the thing is like, don't even worry about the money. As long as you can get there and sit in the Airbnb and eat those 5 days.
Right. You don't have to go out there and spend a bunch of money. And a lot of people use money as like a hindrance to do shit. But it's like, if you're able, like, money is always going to come to you. Like, you can't think that money's never going to come to you, because guess what? Then it's never going to come. You're always going to get money regardless. Like, now what you do with it is up to you. And if that's going to make you happy in this instance, then you fucking do it, because why be depressed?
And life is too short and we only get one. It's like, what's the point in holding on to things like, all right, having a savings and having a cushion to fall back on in an emergency is one thing, right?
Right.
But being like, yo, I don't got time to go sit on a beach. I'm too busy getting this money. It's like, you wonder why Fortune 500 CEOs suffer from real bad clinical depression that they can't shake with a change of scenery, because it's like their only reason for living ends up being this money. They're only worth what they can give to people or what they can do for people. And that takes the worst toll on you. But that you did that to yourself, Mr. Miss Success. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to like knock success. We all want to be successful in life. But what is success? Is it being able to live a full life? Or is it being able to show people that you could live a full life? A lot of folks say, like, when I get my first million, maybe I'll, with people that see me going to Japan all the time, and they're just like, yo, couldn't be me. You know what I mean? I'm like, why couldn't it be you?
Why?
I was selling shoes at Lord & Taylor to finance my first trip. Like, and I wasn't making any money selling shoes. I was making $7.65 an hour. Like, I wasn't making any money. But like,
I took an 11-day trip to Greece. So if I can do it, and this is me paying all my bills by myself, having my kid, I worked my full-time job, but like, I saved up for that shit specifically because I knew that's something I wanted to do. It's not like people act like traveling is so difficult or it takes such a toll. It's not that hard to travel.
A lot of people don't like to invest in the long game. So like saving up to travel, like people who have travel as a priority in their like interest, they don't mind staying home and cooking meals. They don't mind buying their socks and drawers from Target instead of like Polo. They don't mind having less streaming services. They don't mind any of that short-term, satisfaction, because they are like, yo, when I get the fuck to Greece, yo, I'm gonna have my whole chest out, and like I don't care, cause like this is what I wanted. Did you want those Balenciagas? Cause it doesn't seem like you do now. You talk about you need money to go to Greece. I need money for Balenciagas. So like I don't know what to tell you. Like I had to give up Balenciagas for Greece, and you got to give up Greece for Balenciagas. But you can't act like you couldn't do Greece.
Right.
And I can't act like I can't do Balenciagas. It's just... It's
what you prioritize at the end of the day.
Yeah, and you can't, like the Rolling Stones said, man, you can't always get what you want. But if you try sometimes, you get what you need. Like...
guys... Just try to change your scenery. It doesn't have to be something ridiculously expensive. You don't need your own villa in the Maldives. Like, this isn't, we're not doing that shit. But you can go upstate. You can go get a little cabin. You can go to Tulum. You can go to, all these places. Try to stay out of Puerto Rico because I don't want y'all bringing the coronavirus over there, to be honest. But stay out of Puerto Rico, please. But whatever. They fuck with y'all in Tulum. Just go to Tulum. It's fine. They want y'all to come there.
Leave the Mayas alone. And then like, the funny thing about Tulum, like in one of my hateration spells, I was just like, yo, they don't even know. They standing in the middle of the crater of the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs. How creepy is that? You got the ghost of T-Rex on your ass. Like, oh, you thought it was fun, right? You thought it was fun. You got your little...
Is that for real? Is it really? Do you
Yeah,
know?
no, the Quintana Roo was
Uh-huh.
actually the site where the Chicxulub. The reason why there's so many cenotes around that area
Mm-hmm.
is because it was the asteroid smashed into that Yucatan Peninsula, and then pieces of it went up in the air and fell back down.
Mm.
Like that joint dried out the area, like it made it a basin instead of a part of the ocean. And
Oh, okay.
so now, like, there's a town called Chicxulub, and it's named after the asteroid, and it is literally sitting like on the rim. Like, if you look at the at because they're not that far above sea level, but like from a telescope in space, you see the rim of the impact crater.
Oh, wow.
Puts Tulum in a whole new light.
Did not know that at all. Like, and I'm like, you're saying it. It has to be true. That's why I'm like, wait, is that for real? Because people talk to just talk nowadays, so you don't even be knowing.
Yeah, it's true. It is true. I mean, like I didn't know because I was just like, oh yeah, like the Mayan ruins. Like I thought that was creepy enough. I figured like
Right.
leave them ancient people alone. You never
Mm-hmm.
seen Legends of the Hidden Temple. One of them things to start talking to you, and then you won't want to go back to Tulum. Now you don't want a hot girl. You don't want to drive the boat no more. But like, but nah, like it really is like the area around it is that impact crater, which I
Mm-hmm.
find actually kind of cool. I might actually go to Tulum just to kind of be in that energy. But like,
You'd probably be the only one over there because nobody really knows. They're just staying in like the strip where all the restaurants and the beach bars are and things like that.
the Ocean City of Mexico.
Yeah. Hey y'all, so before we get into the next segment, I wanted to remind you, as usual, you already know the deal. If you haven't done so already, please rate, review, and subscribe down below. If you are using the Apple Podcast app, please rate 5 stars. 5 stars gets, it gives me a little boost, gets me on the charts, gets me known, gets me heard, and all that fucking jazz. Also, leave me a review. Let me know what you would like to hear. Let me know if there's any topics you would like me to cover, any people you would like me to interview, any people you would want on the show, anything like that. Put it down below in the review section. Also, you can take a screenshot of the episode and tag me on Instagram. I love to connect with my listeners. I love to get feedback and all that shit. So you can just take a screenshot of what you're listening to and tag me in it, and I will repost and say, what's up? I'm not going to take up any more of your time. I'm going to let you get back into the episode. Thank you. Bye. All right, so we're going to get into the next segment, which is why you're actually on the show today. So it's Heart on My Sleeve, and it's where we dive a little bit deeper about like real life struggles and things like that and how we manage them. And today I wanted to reference the movie Malcolm and Marie. Before I saw it, I actually saw your Instagram story, and you we're going in on the macaroni and cheese. And I was just like, I've seen the poster for the movie. I didn't watch the trailer, but it was like, it's like a love story or whatever. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to check it out. You're like, it's a little triggering or whatever, but let me know what you think. And, we spoke about it a little bit, so I wanted to talk about it on the podcast. But first and foremost, this is spoiler warning. Like, we're going to talk about the movie. So if you haven't seen it, you can stop listening now.
Stop it now. Stop it now, and just take the 90 minutes and come back. Make sure you remember where you paused it and, like, come back.
Right. So first and foremost, the first question I had for you was, do you think Imani was based on Marie?
Yeah. Absolutely. I don't remember if he actually admitted it or not. He did say like that one deep thing in the bathtub scene, right? Mm-hmm. Like, oh, the girl who couldn't fathom that anyone else could love her because she didn't love herself. Nah, he was just saying that to be mean.
Right.
But like in reality, like as an artist, like when I write a love song or when I write like a heartbreak song, it's not just one girl. You know what I mean? Like it's a look at the emotion that these, like maybe all of these women made me feel one central emotion. And this is the point of the song. So I think that Imani was like all of them, like he said, it was all of them. He just was framing it in a way to be spiteful instead of just saying, well, babe, I have a thing where I've honestly been dating, women with these kinds of issues my whole life.
Right.
And so, yes, there's a part of you in there, but there's also a part of Leah, and there's also a part of Kiki, and there's also like a part of all the rest of them mixed with like my perspective on what they did, what they portrayed out in the world. So yeah, I mean, yeah, she was, but at the same time, it wasn't all her, and he could have really, it would have killed the argument, which would have killed the movie,
right?
But like, the truth of the matter is, yeah, man, it's all of you.
I think it was like a combination of all of those women, bits and pieces of them, but I think ultimately he framed that character around Marie. Like, there was just certain things he put very when he said that he put the cutting herself with nail scissors in the movie, like that was very much personal to her, and she made that clear to him. Like, she was like, I opened up to you and I told you about that specific part in my life, and that's in the movie. You're gonna sit here and tell me that character is not me? Like, that's something very personal. Yeah, she could have tried to kill herself in any way. Like, he could have changed that specific detail to
nail scissors are so specific. And it was literally the first thing I said when I saw it. I was like, Nail scissors, bro. All right, so if she has a nail scissors story and she was just like, I told you I cut myself with nail scissors, and I was just like, Malcolm, you know, you couldn't just say a simple thank you. Like the nail scissors was enough of a piece of her,
Right.
where it was like, bro, you can't.
It's undeniable at that point.
Yeah, you can't use like the muse shit for all of this now.
It's crazy. I feel like Malcolm, I don't know. So I've watched the movie at this point 3 or 4 times. The first time I watched it was when me and you were talking about it. And then I watched it a second time and I can't get past like a little bit. Once they're about to have sex, I can't get past that part anymore. Like, it's just like I tune it out completely. And then I tried to watch it with 2 of my friends, but like we were all together and we were all talking. It's very much a movie that you have to sit down and pay attention to. But I realized that the first line of this movie was Marie saying, so this is right after the credits. So after he's singing and dancing and drinking and seemingly getting more drunk and all of that, and she makes the macaroni and cheese, she puts it on the table, and the first line after the title page comes up is, I promise you it's not a good idea, let's talk tomorrow. And I was just like, boom, like she does not want to argue with you, sir. He was pushing that argument from the beginning and then changing up, like it. He would say something and then get overly defensive and try to make her seem like she's crazy. And then little by little, it's like these little things kept coming up. And it's like, oh, this is why she's mad. Oh, this is why she's mad. Like, what? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, why are you arguing with her? She has every reason to be mad. And I know they did that for like the cinematic effect to drag time, because if everything comes out in the beginning, like the movie is just not.
I mean, shit. And it's kind of it is kind of an accurate depiction of dealing with a narcissist. Because really, if you think about it, man, you was on a high. Your film just kicked ass. Like, bro, I don't even want no macaroni and cheese. I just want you and sleep. Please put the Kraft macaroni and cheese in the thing and like let me see what is underneath that amazing dress. Like, I can't believe you wore that for me. Like, I don't like, she could be mad, but she wasn't going to deny that closeness and that intimacy, because deep down inside she still loves him and is happy for him. It's just, my guy, I got my own little personal gripes with what you did, and it's not a good idea for me. I don't want to ruin your night, and you're really asking me to ruin your night. And I'm still, the more I try not to, the more you bugging out. You think it's about Taylor, you think it's about Bob, and it's just like, actually, bro, now we gotta talk about it, because no, it's
about
not
the
Bob.
thing that you did. Like, the fact that he acted like he's here making guesses. Like, sir, you didn't thank her, and it was bad because you apologized 1,000 times during the movie. So why are you sitting here acting like you don't know why she's mad? That made no sense to me at all.
Because he thought that like his apology should have just been it. Like, yo, I said I'm sorry 10,000 times. What you want me to say? I want you to just like shut up. That's what I want you to do. Like, I really just like, at the heart of it all, I felt like my heart was really hurting for Marie, because I was just like, yo, she just wants him to shut up. Like, and he just won't shut up. And like, it's making everything worse. And like, to the point where I gotta light a cigarette with a candle lighter.
Yo, that was my favorite part, because when I tell you that's what I use, I be in my bathroom with my candle lighter.
I do it all the time. I love the candle lighter more than the regular lighter. There's no finger burn. Like,
yeah.
be lighting that joint like this.
It's just, oh my god, it was so accurate. And yeah, he just wouldn't stop. And even she said, like, this is gonna happen, and you don't know when to stop. Like, you always take it too far, and it's going to be bad. Like, and that's what got me thinking, like, this is really a toxic relationship, because it's not like this was just one, you know, argument that happened because of years of whatever. Like, this is the biggest argument they've ever had. To me, it sounded like whenever they argue, he goes for the jugular. Like, it's like, I'm going to hurt you because I don't know. And I've dated people like that. They don't know how to fucking argue without hurting your feelings. Like, it's like, once you get to the point where you feel the need to really hurt me in a way that has nothing to do with what the argument is, then I know I won, because you have nothing else to say to me to support your argument without trying to hurt me.
That's actually my arguing style in a relationship, because I've dealt with a lot of that too, where it's like, oh, we gonna talk about finances, or we gonna talk about like some nonsense, like some real, like, I know that you just tried to insult me. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, well, the conversation's over. You don't understand that you just did something really dumb, and like, you couldn't just own it, so you decided that you was going to try to drag me to hell. And you know what? You won. I'm out of here. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go get some ice cream and go check my email. And like, I'm not even mad at this anymore.
Right.
Like, I could leave this whole shit alone. Like, you, I don't know what it is about you, but that is narcissism. It's like, yo, it hurts my feelings that you think I did something wrong. Like, mm-hmm. That's really what that is. Like, it's like the kid in school that could not just get in trouble. It was like, they'll get in trouble and it'll always be a but, and then they throw a temper tantrum, because like, when I was an after school counselor, like not too long ago, there were kids that I would like, you know, I tutor them, and they would like do something wrong. I call them out on it, and they'll start being defensive, like whatever. And when you shoot down that defensiveness, like, listen, bro, I'm not trying to come at you.
Right.
I'm just saying, like, there's no reason, like, I'm asking for a quiet room and you throwing yourself out your chair. It's just,
right.
It's a lot, right? And then they're just like, I don't even care. And they start throwing chairs around, and it's just like, see, now you could hurt somebody. Like, now you really wilding. And it's like, all this is it's just me correcting something that was incorrect, man. Mm-hmm. Like, why are you so mad? And I love how kids absorb those kinds of things, because they do take responsibility, even though they don't really even understand what that is. Because I'll be like, you know, you just turned this into something else.
Right.
Like, so now when you get in trouble for ruining the classroom, you can't say that Mr. Dwayne did anything. You can't say that anyone else in the class did anything.
Right.
I told you something about yourself, and it made you so mad that you spazzed out and you destroyed this teacher's classroom. Mm-hmm. All right, Taz. So now you're going to have to deal with this in the morning. Mm-hmm. And then they got to deal with it in the morning. And then are they going to approach me the same way again? Nah.
Probably not,
but,
yeah.
But when you allow that kind of stuff, or you kind of like humor that kind of stuff, mm-hmm. those kids will grow into Malcolms.
Yeah.
Where like they just cannot accept responsibility for a thing that isn't exalting them. Mm-hmm. Like, if it's not praise, then they can't take it.
Yeah, he was very much defensive, and Marie was the only one trying to like turn the night over. Like, every time there was some sort of like resolution, or they were getting along or laughing or whatever, it's because she came back after being berated and like fucking the way she was spoken to in that tub, for then her to turn around and come out and like be joking with him and all that shit. And it's even funny because she comes out after the tub scene, and you know, she starts singing a song. She actually plays a song which is it was like, oh, I wrote it down. Damn,
and I wish, because it was so
Get
perfect.
rid of him. That's what it was.
Get rid of him. But I can't, because I love him. Yeah. I know he's an asshole, but he's my asshole. Mm-hmm. And so she's letting him know. I was tearing up, actually, at that scene, because I was just like, let's see if he softens up. Because the thing is that I would be so in love with this woman if, like, I said the most hurtful thing ever, and I'm out there ruminating on it and smoking a cigarette and being like, I can't believe I said that. And she comes out and she's like, they telling me to with her little Nicole Kidman camisole on. Girl,
He
Girl.
was so rough. He ignored the hell out of her and stopped ignoring her when he needed her again. So when he goes back inside the apartment or the house and he sees that there's a review and he can't find his wallet to see the review, then it's like, oh, I can talk to her. And then that's when he like softened up, which was such bullshit to me because it was like, oh, she's out here really like extending an olive branch and like trying to get past whatever it is. Even though I don't think she should have, but she's really trying and you're still ignoring her and then only paying her any attention when you need her again.
And even that softening wasn't really softening. It was a narcissistic tantrum. Mm-hmm. It was, this white bitch from the LA Times, she's telling me that it's an amazing Illuminary work. And it was a good review.
Yeah, it was so hard to watch. I was just like, what is he yelling about? Like, why are you yelling so much?
And it was only because he wanted, and you're such a narcissist that you don't understand, like, all right, this is a white woman critiquing a black film. She's definitely walking on eggshells. She's trying to dodge the pitfalls of like over-analyzing your work or under-analyzing your work. She's not trying to compare you to Spike Lee. She's not trying to compare you to Barry Jenkins. You are trying to compare yourself to Spike Lee and Barry Jenkins. So at the core of it, you ain't even really a viable director, kid.
Right.
Like, Marie really the only one that's going to keep it real with you. Mm-hmm. And look how you treating her. And then she's still like, but babe, it was a good... First of all, she's still calling him babe.
Yeah.
You're going to be Malcolm for the rest of the night. I don't even care if we stop fighting. You're Malcolm. Or you might be Malk. You might even just be not even your whole name, your Malk. You're not even going to finish the mac and cheese. Like, but like... He was babe and she was still there. Mm-hmm. And she was still like, you know, I know that he goes through these things and I know how he wanted this movie to go. You still. And then it led into that other shocking revelation where it was like, you didn't even cast me.
Yeah. Yo, that was just like, and then it's like the way that came up, because I don't know if you remember, but a little bit earlier in the film, she was like, we're going to be good as long as you don't say nothing else stupid. And then he didn't even realize he said the most stupidest thing he could fucking say. He was like, basically, he knows that if she could find a role that she could be herself in, that she would be astounding.
And it's literally me. This was my motherfucking Sandra Bullock
in the like, Blind Side. Like,
come on, man. This was inspired by true events. You don't remember? Like, boy, like that was your reasoning. Where's my candle lighter?
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to the up. And she was like, I can't take this shit. This is bullshit. Like, you have to be you can't be that nearsighted. Like, you can't see outside yourself that much that you don't know what you just said to me. Like, you have this great role that you just got this amazing review on, and, you know, your production agency put us in this huge house and all this shit, and then you're constantly throwing Taylor in my face on top of it. That, when I found out that he basically didn't cast her and casted Taylor, the fact that he kept on bringing Taylor up to her, it's like, sir, you know the problem I have with Taylor has nothing to do with her or me thinking that I'm jealous of you. Like, it has nothing to do with that. It's the fact that you didn't cast me for you cast somebody else to be me.
And I wouldn't have even been mad at that had you not said what you said. It could have been so, that would be one of the times where, like, I always say, like, I would never lie. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm in love, I'm never going to lie. Like, right. That's my number one. Honesty is like my number one thing when it comes to, if I tell you I love you, the way you know is that there's absolutely no, if you don't know, if there's no other indicator, then it's my absolute honesty. I will give you the truth at the drop of a hat. Yo, where is my left shoe? I put it to hold the door closed because I was bringing the groceries in. My fault. You know what I mean? Like, right. There is no lies. But if I knew I fucked up by not casting you in a movie that was about your life, I'm gonna say some shit like, yo, the studio really wanted to go with Taylor for like the optics, and I'll just go with some, Hollywood's a meat grinder, I ain't really want to put you through all of that, which is half true. Nobody
Right.
wants to put their spouse through anything crazy like that. Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman's relationship dissolved because of Eyes Wide Shut.
Mm.
They really had breakdowns in their relationship after that movie. It wasn't because of the movie, but it was probably working together on a
The
movie that was
pressures,
about
yeah.
an unhappy couple.
Right.
And so they probably realized how unhappy they were with each other in the process of playing that couple.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's almost like, maybe you would be super like not into me. Like imagine us working on set and having to deal with like the ins and outs of producing a movie.
Right. Or me having to be your boss now. Like that's a whole nother dynamic to add onto our relationship. So I could, yeah.
It ain't a lie. It's a convenient truth that I didn't think about until you just asked me this question.
Right.
I could always say this. And even if you was like, lying, whatever, like a rug, like it'll be all right. You know what I mean? Like you'll be like, yo, but he did lie on some like, he just didn't want me to, he doesn't want to disrespect me by saying that he thought I couldn't hack my own fucking role.
Right.
But you told her she can't hack her own life.
Mm-hmm. Essentially. And it's like, was he lying in the instance? Does he really feel like she could be great? Because from what we've seen in the movie, like she looks like she could be a great actress, right? Like she proved herself time and time again with the whole banter that she was having, and she was doing all of these improv roles and things like that. She was amazing. Like that was great. And then when she actually showed him, quote unquote, like, no, I am a great actress. Like, this is what authenticity gets you. Like, this is why I could have been great in that role. And so it's like, did he really feel that way? Or was he just saying it in the heat of the moment?
I think he really felt that way, but I think what he was hiding, I think we actually touched on this in our DM conversation. I think what happened with him was he knew that this was gonna be like her Lupita Nyong'o 12 Years a Slave. You know what I mean? This was gonna send her to the moon. We don't necessarily be remembering who directed 12 Years a Slave.
Right.
We know it was a great director, but we just don't know under the shade of Lupita Nyong'o taking off after that.
Yeah.
So, or Gabby Sidibe playing Precious. You know what I mean? We don't remember who necessarily directed the movie, but we know the star.
Right.
And we'll always equate the star with that film. And so, of course, she's going to grow from this. Maybe more than you. This might have just been a good movie for you, but this was her launching pad.
Right.
And she knew that, and he knew that. And so the thing is I think, yeah, he knows she could be great. I believe that Malcolm is truly in love with Marie like he says he is. The problem is his own narcissism. His own ego has gotten in the way of their relationship, and she doesn't even necessarily want him to have a hurt ego.
Right.
But like, when do you want to ever be fair to me? Like, when are my feelings ever going to be important? When is my life ever going to be important to you besides just being your emotional crutch?
Or like being your movie or your story. Because that was another thing she said to him, which like, when she was ready to throw them hands, she was ready to throw them hands. Okay.
You are no Spike Lee or Barry Jenkins because they have their own fucking perspective. And I'm just like, them art talks, like, when I can't imagine being in a relationship with another artist and we start talking like, and we're being real mean to each other. And like, she goes, and nobody wants to hear your fucking raps anyway. They're so fucking pedantic. You're such a pedestrian. Like, you don't bring any authenticity. Now, Drake is who you wish you could be. And I'm just like standing there with the half of mac and cheese in my hand, like.
All right, but can we also talk about something? Have you ever been in an argument where it was like each person had their own monologues? Because I would have interrupted Malcolm 1,001 times. Like, I don't give. Like, you're not gonna sit here and yell at me like this for 10 minutes.
I am the worst, right? Like, to argue with, because I am a talker. I am a big fan of literature. I love words and how they're used. And of course, like, I'm a poet, so I can really like strike at the head and the heart at the same time. And so arguing with me, after a while, it stops being about, it stops being about us having this back and forth. And at a certain point, I'm just gonna, like, when I'm ready to just end this shit, we're having a monologue, and it's going to be Shakespearean. Like, you want to know something? You want to know why I never tell you I love you? It's not because I don't. Like, and it's not because I don't. So don't start that shit, Marie. Like, it's because you want to be the star in your own fucking movie, but you want me to hold the camera. And like, but you know what? I'm all out of film. And then I just turn around and walk away. And I hope you just slide down the door crying. After that, I'm all out of film, Marie. I'm all out of film. But
I don't feel like I have monologues. No. I mean, after a while, maybe I'll let you talk. I think once I get to the point where I'm over the whole argument and over the whole conversation, I'll probably let you talk at the end of it, but I'm not listening to you anymore. And that probably will get you even more, like...
See, that's where... I mean, I'll get upset, but I think, like, arguments in relationships have more of a volatile nature to them. Like, arguing with family... It don't hit the same. But arguing with, like, a lover, it's like, if you stop listening to me, well, then I'm gonna stop talking. And, like, literally, like, this will go unresolved.
Yeah.
And, like, hey, you can't blame me for the unresolved argument. You literally decided to stop talking to me. So you know what I did? While you was interrupting me and just trying to get your little jabs in, I just started practicing my jump shot. Swish. I mean, what were you saying, babe? Like, I'm listening. I'm just, repetition makes perfection. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to sit here and, like, argue. Like, an argument should actually lead to a resolution. I invite that kind of conflict. Like, I'm not the kind of person that shies away from that conflict. Right. I loved Malcolm and Marie because I know that that's real. Like, those fights are real. And, like, they happen all the time. And although Malcolm was an insufferable narcissist, we have varying levels of those arguments.
Right.
But those knockdown, drag out arguments tend to happen in these relationships. And, like, a lot of our problems in relationships come from shying away from those. Or going about them the wrong way. Instead of just, like, listening. Because I think that, like, Malcolm wasn't listening and Marie had nothing to listen to. He was just kind of blowing hot air the whole fight.
It was all him trying to hurt her feelings the whole time.
And all she was doing was keeping it real. And he could not hack reality. And so it was just like, yo, like, how many times am I going to keep talking to you? And, like, I'm just done. And the thing is all I wanted was a thank you. You didn't even have to thank the movie people. All you had to do was come up on me while I'm making this mac and cheese and be like, thank you, baby. Not just for my inspiration, but for being there to support me and for being around annoying ass Taylor and fucking Bob. Like, don't you hate Bob? Like, like, I know that you hate Bob. And, like, thank you for, like, smiling in his face and not spitting in it. And then, like, and now it's 1 a.m. and you're here making macaroni and cheese in a dress.
Yeah, right.
I don't even want you making this macaroni and cheese. You know what I mean? Like, thank you. Let me, I'm taking off the suit jacket. Let me take care of this. Because it's more than just you hear the good things she's saying to him, and he's not hearing any of that.
Mm-hmm.
He don't let the good into his life, and that's a personal problem.
Right.
Like,
No,
she
it
wasn't
is.
going to cure that. And I think that's what frustrated her the most. It was like, that's why in the end, she's just there, like staring off into the distance. Cause it's just like, I don't think he's ever going to get it.
He's not going to get it because at the end of the day, it was all the difference between I'm sorry and thank you. You kept saying you were sorry, but when all I really wanted you to do was to thank me. Okay, you didn't do it in the speech, but you could have done it a million times from the speech up until the end of the argument, which the last words of the movie was him saying thank you. He did not say it the entire movie.
And it almost felt insincere, which is why, of course, like her reaction, you see her reaction was still stone cold. She just was quiet and she just turned off the light.
Because
she
it's just like at this point, it doesn't even mean anything. I've had to tell you to do it so many times. It's not genuine. It's not coming from you.
You broke me down. You made me reopen wounds. You made me revisit traumatic experiences in my life. And then you thanked me for some vague shit. I don't even know what you're thanking me for anymore.
Right.
And that was like, a lot of people that have seen the movie would say like they don't like the way it ended. They don't like, the critics hate it. The critics think that it's just, it was just like this fake film noir. Like, they're really too caught up in the style, right? They're too caught up in the technical aspects of the film, which is actually a good point made in Malcolm's whole breakdown about the review. Is that, look at the reviews of Malcolm and Marie in the real world are the same as the reviews of Malcolm's movie in The Thing.
Really?
It's like, it's nice, but it's too much of a breakdown on the technical aspects instead of the emotion, like he said. Like, no one's talking about Imani. But you know what? Maybe they would have talked about Imani if you would have cast Marie. But you ain't give them nothing to work with. You gave them Tay-Tay. And so now they ain't got nothing to do but to break down the technical aspects of this film. You failed in that regard.
Right.
But then to read the actual Washington Post, and they're just like, we enjoy the French New Wave style. And it was beautiful. Like, as a movie lover, I caught it right away. I was like, ooh, this is like a one taker. It's like, it's got the real French vibe. They're arguing like French people. Like, it's beautiful. I love what this is inspired by, but they feel like they didn't get anything from it. And I'm like, that's what's supposed to happen. You're not supposed to get anything from this film.
Right.
You're supposed to feel like Marie. This is a movie sympathizing with Marie. This has Malcolm is more of a background character. He's the antagonist, but Marie is your hero. And so for her to get that empty thank you in the end, it's like we leave with that same empty feeling.
Yeah.
Like, there is no closure. There probably will never be any closure. And we don't even know if Marie's going to just figure out and just get the hell out from under this dude.
Right. For all we know, she stood.
I feel like if your girl goes to bed with you and y'all had a big fight and the next day she's up and she's staring off in the distance outside,
good.
Yeah, I safely assume that it's over. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to walk out, I'm going to put my hand on her shoulder, and I'm going to say, do we have to get lawyers? Like, it's we can't escape it now. Now, I know you're hurt, and I know that this thank you that I said at the end was really nothing. I think that was like Malcolm at the end. It was like, this is proof positive that thank you really was nothing at that point. Like,
yeah.
I don't know what to say, like, say nothing. I know you're bad at it, but like, say nothing.
I mean, it was a good movie. I enjoyed it. It was triggering to me because I feel like I've been in on the other side of a narcissist relationship. Like, I've dealt with someone who's been that way. So like, it kind of triggered me in that aspect. But then also it's like, I'm no longer in it. So it's like, I can look back and be like, you see, you're doing much fucking better. Like, we're glowing up on this side because that bullshit was just, it was too much at that point.
And I, as a man, I look at it and I'm like, how many of my friends fight like this in their relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I wouldn't even say friends, right? Because I don't think any of my friends really do. But I know men who have these kinds of problems in their relationships. And it's just like, I bet, like my mother says, like, I bet $1 to a bucket of shit that, like, it's you. You know what I mean? Like, you are beating up on this woman and she's not taking your shit.
Right.
And that's the reason why your fights are always so nasty, is that you can't hack being responsible for what you say and what you do. You think that you can say all of this, you can do all of this, and you think that I'm sorry and some sex is going to fix this.
Right.
You're listening to one too many rap songs. Like, it just don't work like that. Like, you ever tried to roll over and touch your girl after a fight and she says no?
That shit
Like,
is common. It's
and
common.
it's a true no means, like, that's a no. Like, you know that's no. And you roll your ass right back over and you just like, oh, damn. You do the Usher shit, like, oh, damn, baby, I know I hurt you. You know, you just like, nah, listen, like, too little, too late. And it's crazy because more people, that's what I didn't get about the reviews. It was like, you should be able to see yourself in these characters. We're not movie directors and we're not actresses that are troubled all the time, but like, we're humans, and humans will fight like this. Especially when one, like, you know, Marie really values Malcolm. But does Malcolm really value Marie?
She was just one of the many broken women that he dated.
And for him to say that was like, what are you doing dating broken women? Are you a predator?
Right.
Is that what you're admitting to right now? You're an emotional predator?
But it kind of gave everything that Marie was saying some validity, because it's like, you don't have any experiences of your own. So the way you gain experiences is through all of these broken women.
Exactly. It gives you no voice. The only authenticity you have is authenticity you gain through others. And so who are you, Malcolm? You know, like, it's like, even then, like, if I were Marie, I would already be making an exit strategy, because I don't even think I'm even talking to a person here.
Right.
I'm dealing with a mirror. This is why this dude's so upset. Is that all he is a mirror of my emotions. So if I'm angry about what's going on here, he gonna be mad. Watch this be another one of his movies. Watch our fight be another one of his damn movies.
Be in one of his movies. Yeah, for sure. For sure, because you don't know anything else.
There's no voice of yours. You do no real research. You just keep on finding these broken women and try to fucking make a career out of them. It's like, and I was actually with a woman watching this movie, and she turns around and she looks at me and goes, "Or put him in a song." and I'm just like, you would never know if you were in a song. And she was just like, I was like, because I don't like, even if they made me if they made me feel the same feeling, they're all different women. Like, I've dated rich women. I've dated not rich women. I've dated, you know, I've dated thotties. I mean, ain't nothing wrong. I don't judge. Man. Like, I don't care if you gets around, man. If we have a good time, we have a good time. Like, the minute you want to keep getting around, go ahead. Like, we don't got to be in a relationship, you know? But the thing is like, that diversity is not because I need shit to rap about.
Right.
Like, shit, I could rap about being in a botanica. I could rap about plants and tea and coffee and shit. But like, I don't have to rap about your pain in order to get recognition.
Exactly.
And so if I put you in a song, that is because you've stuck with me. And it ain't never gonna be we ain't never talking about the nail clippers and none of that shit.
Right.
Like, if we're not gonna go into those dark, you don't share those dark things with me so that I could have a voice out there. Like, you share those things with me because I should be able to help you. I should be able to deal with that shit with you. Exactly. You know, like, it should never be a source of my identity. Like, And I think that's one of those things that's specific to the movie, because I'm not sure if there's dudes, like there are dudes who just date broken women because they like the control.
The control of it all. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they like being looked up to, even if they don't have anything to look up to.
Yeah, like, they like to also do what Malcolm did, is put the women's insecurities on them. So like, if we're in an argument, I'm gonna tell you all the bullshit that you're insecure about so you can feel like shit. Like that's a big thing. And
you can't actually crack me. But Marie just built different, because it was just like, bro, everybody could say whatever they want, right? Everybody could praise you however the hell they want. But I know the truth. And the truth is you are lacking a voice. Mm-hmm. You corny, bro. Like, you corny. And like, and anyone's going to say that. The lady from the LA Times, like, they both was bringing that lady up, because that lady from the LA Times is actually like a metaphor for what the outside world sees him as.
Right.
And that's why he was so mad, because it was like, yo, the lady from the LA Times think you whack. So it ain't just me.
Right.
Like we, 5,000 naked Frenchmen can't be wrong, and we all out here bare ass, bro. Mm-hmm. Like, you the only one out there with a robe on, so you the crazy one. Like, you the one in denial, like damn, Malcolm, tough break, kid. Like,
yeah, he was definitely the antagonist in the film. And I tried to go in, like, watching the movie, like, with an open mind. Like, I'm not gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna side with Marie from the get, but like, nah. Like, she was.
I literally started in the middle. I was like, I don't know what this movie's about. We're in a cold open. I don't know where we're going. The trailer looked like a beautiful date night. Mm-hmm. Like, me and my date both looked at each other and were just like, where is the romance? Like, we're waiting for the romance to happen. And it's just like, I think the romance was over 3 days ago. Mm-hmm. And now they're at the end of their relationship. I think, like, maybe like an hour in, it was like, all right, I don't think we're getting any romance tonight, babe. Like, like this ain't gonna make us, like, this is gonna make us talk for another 3 hours.
Right,
like, we ain't gonna, but this ain't gonna make us want to cuddle. Like, we got some things we need to discuss, because this right here on this is not what we doing.
Right. Like, we're gonna have to make sure that we don't get like that. So let's just talk about this real quick, okay? Let's get this all out on the table.
I'm like, I can assure you, I'm the softest person on planet Earth. I think that before I bring up the nail clippers, I'll run a hot bath for my damn self and just be like, yeah, you know what, babe? I think we both need to just chill out, and we'll talk about it in the morning. Right. When we're both like, we down from this energy. You can formulate your thoughts, I can formulate mine, and we'll figure it out.
Definitely.
But that 1:30 in the morning thing is not. That's a headache waiting to happen. And I think we should leave that in our early 20s and approach our older lives.
Mm-hmm. And the also, like, another dynamic is, like, she's sober, right? And he's clearly been drinking. So it's like also arguing with someone when you're completely sober who's been drinking, and he's just all sloppy. And the scene when he was eating the mac and cheese was so disgusting to me. I was just like, can you not eat like a fucking pig? Like, it was just so nasty.
I think that the mac and cheese was actually a very good indicator of the kind of man that Malcolm is, which is not necessarily a man at all. More like a man-child. Like, he's a man. He takes care of certain responsibilities and whatnot. But at the same time, he's a child. Where, like, you can make him a bowl of Kraft mac and cheese, and he'll just be like, yeah, babe, I'm going to tear this up. But they said it was great. And they look. I would expect a 12-year-old boy coming home from Pee Wee football to eat mac and cheese like that and speak with that level of energy.
Right.
Like, first of all, like I said on Instagram, it was like, man, if you making me Kraft mac and cheese, I know you're upset.
Right.
Because I don't like that shit. It's not good at all. So it's almost like you're spitefully feeding me. Babe, what is wrong? Mm-hmm. You usually put a little grated Parmesan in there. You usually make it with the Lumarche and not the macaroni. Like, the box was for the apocalypse, remember?
This is was just in case.
Yeah, why did you go in there? Why did you do that? Babe, was it Bob? Was it Bob? As soon as I see that mac and cheese, like, was it Bob? Like,
was it Bob? Bob doesn't get enough recognition in this movie for his role in Marie's attitude.
Because Bob was the one that set her off. Bob was like, I know it bothered you that he didn't thank you. You know, Bob. Yeah, thank you, Bob. Thank you. Thank you. Because when I get back to that house in Joshua Tree, I'm going to ream his ass.
All right. So we have been chatting. So we're going to end it right here. But before I do, tell my listeners where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram, of course, where I am going in on a variety of things. That is at Tokyopro. I'm Tokyopro on all platforms. You can find my music streaming on all platforms. And yeah, hit me. I love to talk, apparently,
Definitely. As always, everything will be linked down below. Thank you for tuning into another episode of the Do I Look Fat podcast. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram _StephyKiss STEPHYKISS and the Do I Look Fat pod, exactly how it sounds. I'll see you next Fine and Thick Friday. Bye.